Yep, that is a level 5 advisor for less than 1 ducat. Why am I allowed to have minus 125% dev cost in 1502? After playing Japan, I realized this is one of my favorite updates in a while. All of the changes and missions are so good, I'll probably end up making a video for all of them. And since I played as Japan last time, I figure why not go to the next closest neighbor, Korea. The changes for Korea aren't too drastic, it's not like they get an entire new mission tree, but you do have a new government reform, the Hermit Kingdom, giving you cheaper advisors and cheaper development in your primary culture. As you can probably guess, this is going to be a common theme. Now, the main mechanic for your government reform is your focus. Starting off with a lack of focus is going to be very expensive, plus 0.5 yearly corruption is not something you want to deal with. On the other hand, that forces you to make a decision. Are you going to go inwards focus to start with, or are you going to go with expansion? There is an outward focus, but to be honest, it's not really that great. If you're colonizing, it's cool, but otherwise, not really. Inward focus is going to make it cheaper to develop, it's going to make your estates happier, but on the downside, you can't declare war without losing stability, and even when you do declare war, that's 33% more aggressive expansion, double the province war score cost, and plus 33% core cost. If you decide to expand, you get a couple of buffs to your armies, a reduction in core creation cost, and a reduction in aggressive expansion, but your estates like you a lot less, minus 10%, and everything is 10% more expensive to develop. And the biggest downside is you can't just change these freely, you have to wait 20 years after clicking one of them. It doesn't really mention that part, but 20 years between each of these means that your decisions kind of matter. But if you've played Korea, you know that if you don't develop everything to 6 dev, and click this mission here, you're gonna end up with a few problems in around 1470. Throw developing the Renaissance on top of that, and I would say inward focus is probably a good start. As for the estates, we will seize land. We'll grant primacy for everything here, then supremacy over the crown, development of temples, institutionalize the Yangban scholars, clerical ministers, clerical advisory council. I think I'll just take the counselors for every single one of these actually. Patronage of the arts, and oddly enough, exclusive trade rights. Don't worry about the crown land, we're mostly gonna get that back from developing. As for rivals, we can take Jianzhou, we'll turn off the forts, turn down the maintenance, and we'll pick up all 3 advisors in some categories that are gonna make us some more money. So, national tax, land maintenance modifier, and improve relations. I would recommend enforcing the Hangul alphabet, makes your technology cheaper, and there isn't really a reason to take it off, as well as the Hopai system. You could reinforce the Tripitaka Koreana if you wanted to, but it's very unlikely that you'll be fighting anybody for a while. And now, we just kind of sit here. There isn't a whole lot to do until we reach the next few techs. And on top of that, we're going to need Renaissance, so you know, developing. So we'll just pay our tribute to Ming, and over time they'll probably decline in power. I'm gonna go ahead and click this button immediately to give us an extra 5 harmony. The great thing about being Confucian is that high harmony gives you minus 10% dev cost, so getting there as fast as possible and keeping it there is very important. Instead of putting your ships on protecting trade, I would actually recommend putting them on pirate hunting. Not because there are really that many pirates, but because it'll protect your coasts from being raided. For some reason, the galleys aren't able to target Nippon, which is kind of weird, so you'll have to use your lights for that. Also, if you would like to, you can get rid of your heir. A 322 is not really that great, so you can assign him to lead an army, or if you really want to, you can just get rid of him. Honestly, I might just get rid of him. One of the great things about the Hermit Kingdom is, as you can see, we have secured succession, which means once we get rid of an heir, we actually get to pick which one we'll get next. And since we're not really using prestige for much, we might as well go ahead and do that. Looks like the new heir was too fast for us to be able to choose. You have to wait a month for that, and it happened in like 2 weeks. But this new heir is a little bit better than the last one. Now, when you get this event, I would recommend not taking this. We can definitely solve this ourselves. Also, you might want to take the Sinmun office. Reduced national unrest and reduced stability cost for the entire game is a pretty sweet deal for just 60 ducats. Also, I'm going to bump up stability just once so we can start getting a little bit of prosperity. Well, look at that, we can get a half-cost level 2 trader advisor, not bad. He's only about a half ducat more, so why not? Okay, and now we're getting a half-cost fort defense guy, sure. And I'm actually going to focus on admin. I want that first idea group first, and I will be taking an admin one to begin with. Oh, looks like the king died a little bit too early. That's really unfortunate because he is a really good stats kind of guy. Fortunately, our queen consort is a patron of the arts, which I didn't know was a personality trait, but well, there you go. At least that'll make our tech cheaper. We're the first one to take Miltech 5, giving us a little bit of innovativeness. Same thing with Diplotech. And finally, Admin tech. Looks like Ming is starting to collapse a little bit, right on time. We can't fight them yet, but hopefully they'll stay alive long enough. Taking the mandate is a very important part of the strategy, but before we do that, we're going to have to take some money. Something I didn't even notice is apparently we had a truce with Jiangzhou, so like we couldn't even have invaded them. So, you don't really have much of a choice except to take inward, I guess. Of course, let's not forget to take our crown land back. Alright, the Renaissance has spawned, and you'll notice the Tripitaka Koreana is doing its job, giving us a little bit of monthly institution growth. Now, it's not a lot of institution growth. In fact, it'll take 21 years to actually fully spread to us, and that's a little bit too long for my tastes. So, instead I'm going to develop it. We could develop it in the capital, but the capital already has a little bit too much development. Instead, I think this would make for a good province. It'll take over another 10 years on average to build this prosperity, so you don't have time to worry about that. I think we'll just go ahead and develop it. As you can see, we're already sitting at about a 50% discount. But that's really only just the beginning. I think I'll use exclusively military and diplo power to develop that. I'm still going to need that first idea group. Something I forgot to do is expand infrastructure, which when playing these tall runs is always a good idea. If it takes up too much governing capacity, you can just get rid of it later. How would you look at that? A half-cost level 1 Korean advisor, 15 prestige, and I'm going to immediately hire that guy, so I can upgrade him to level 2. Alright, that's the Renaissance. It's a little bit expensive to grab right now, but we can seize land. We can take out a few loans, embrace that institution, take this to keep our innovativeness, and then I'll go ahead and pick up infrastructure ideas, one of my new favorite idea groups, and I'll build at least this one temple, while also exploiting a little bit of tax dev. I'll go ahead, build this marketplace in here because we have a mission for that. Not a mission, state agenda. And we'll start off with local infrastructure complexes. What I like about this is the global prosperity growth that's going to make developing a lot cheaper. Here we go, the plight of the peasantry. If we don't finish this mission down here by 1470, we're gonna have a couple problems. That's another part of starting off as Tall Korea. Getting that early prosperity is going to allow us to dev all of these provinces for cheaper. We need to have at least 6 development in all Korean provinces. For the tier 2 reform, you could either go with curtailing noble privileges or maybe the noble officer corps. I'm gonna get myself a little bit more money just because that early game tax is pretty important, but later on you're going to want to swap this out for sure. Oh, you have to be joking, really? Patron of the arts and scholar? This Queen Regent is actually really good. I might just keep her around instead of letting this guy ascend. Free stab, let's go. We can take that Diplotech for 441, very nice. I think I'm going to extend this regency. Uh-oh, looks like Ming's falling apart a little bit. We really need them to last at least another 4 years. Just a couple. It doesn't have to be that long. Alright, that's the third infrastructure idea. That's also going to give us minus 10% advisor cost and 5% loyalty on every one of our estates. And now that we have some points saved up and prosperity in all of our states, I think it's worthwhile to go ahead and dev up a little bit, just so we can finish that one mission. Now it's 1464, and even though we will be able to change our focus, it doesn't mean that we have to. The yearly corruption from the beginning only lasts until you click it for the first time. It's to encourage you to start using the system, but once you select a focus, you don't actually have to change your focus after 20 years, and in this case, I actually feel more comfortable continuing this very short regency just so I can push through my ideas a little bit more and just so I can take these next 2 techs. For the age ability, I'm going to take improved war taxes. We will be declaring war soon. I know, it's been a long time of us sitting here doing a lot of internal management, but I promise it'll happen. Now I'm going to go ahead, sell some titles, take some land back, pay off all of these loans, and I'll get this half-cost inflation guy. From now on, since we don't have that much time left, I'm gonna go ahead, save up all my money, try to get ourselves to 16.88 income, just so we can finish off this mission, and then of course this mission over here before 1470. And it seems we can also form the state council. I imagine this is only going to have good effects, at least I hope so. And this is an interesting event. We'll take the bottom option. Looks like the regency's over just before I was about to take these techs too. Well, I normally wouldn't take something like this so early. It is rather cheap, and the additional production efficiency might be just what we need to finish off this mission. Oh. Well, that's convenient. Just on time, we can finish this mission here, and then this one down here with about a year to spare. Now we're perfectly safe from the inside threats, and we can focus on the outside. Now let's change over to expansion focus, and I'll wait about 1 year just to see some crown land before we head forward. Also at this point, I'm going to start refusing the Ming tribute. We now have Tech 6, which is much stronger than their Tech 5. We have the Renaissance, they don't, plus they're taking almost 50% more damage. We have a new heir, but they're not exactly perfect. I think I'll probably end up getting rid of them. And for some reason, the secured succession isn't really securing succession. I don't know what the problem with that is. Alright, looks like everything's in order. We have the claims that we're going to make, this one on this province, this one on this province. We're going to fully annex Zhenzhou, so let's get started. Going to steal this siege quickly. And if the rebels would like to get started on the capital, that would be fantastic. Also, as Korea, we have access to a unique naval doctrine, the Panokson. 5% ship durability, which isn't really too fantastic, especially when you compare it to that 15% galley combat ability. But I'll take it anyway, because of course that's going to get me closer to the Turtles All the Way Down achievement. You need 135% ship durability for that, which is very hard to grab. I think the only way to end up getting that is naval ideas plus quality ideas, which is kinda lame. But you do what you gotta do, I guess. Here we go, radical reforms, perfect. And we can finish off our infrastructure ideas. Looks like So is gone, so I'm going to swap my ships away from hunting pirates over to protecting trade. And I'm gonna go ahead and steal this siege as well. For reform number 3, this here, royal favoritism, is a little bit deceptive. It seems really good at first glance, cost of advisors with ruler culture decrease. However, if you do take that, you're going to lose supremacy of the crown, which is a lot more important. Keep in mind, this is one privilege slot or 30% loyalty. Very efficient in comparison. Sure, you're going to get cheaper advisors, but it's not really worth it. Instead, I would recommend decentralized bureaucracy for a reason you'll realize much later on. I can't show you now because we're not the Emperor of China, but once we become the Emperor, we get access to the Mandate of Heaven mission segment down there. And this government reform, which helps you complete a mission, will give you minus 10% dev cost for the rest of the game. So yes, it's very important. With the capital claimed, we can defend this fort over here, bringing nominally an end to the war. Looks like Ming is actually falling apart this time, so we have to be fast finishing this war off. It wasn't the fastest war out there, but it could be worse. Yoink! Now we have to quickly shift our attention over to Ming, building up some extra galleys because I know they're going to be strong. I think all we should have to do is refuse the tribute one more time and they should break the tributary status. I was trying not to do this earlier because if you do, then they might end up warning you and that kind of sucks. There we go. This means that we immediately get the Mandate of Heaven CB, and while we do have a royal marriage, which kind of sucks, I mean, I imagine they'll probably break that soon anyway. If they're hostile, they should break it. Yep, there we go. And now we can declare for the Mandate of Heaven. I'm not going to take it, but we can get provinces for half cost and a whole lot of money. I'm not anticipating that we're going to have a great battle here, but we do have quite a lot of galleys, so man can hope. Looks like they have no galleys left, meaning this is definitely a win for us. Alright, that's Shenyang down. I think I'll clean up this rebel province just so it doesn't revolt by accident. Otherwise, it's onwards to Beijing. Now this peace deal might vary a little bit. If I could get 100%, it might not be a bad idea for us to take all of these provinces. These are the 3 imperial cities that we're going to need for our new dynasty anyway. On the other hand, that's 118% overextension. Kind of expensive. At the very least, I think it would be reasonable for us to take this amount of money, plus war reps and these provinces over here. It's not that much to core, it's one imperial city, and if any revolter tags decide to pop out down here, there's a decent chance we can at least take this from one of them. And I don't remember if anybody pops out here, but if so, then, well, same thing. With that core in Amnok, we can finish this mission, giving us some claims on the stuff we're about to take anyway. Looks like we're gonna cap on mill power if we don't dev something, and whoops, we're already at 9 cost per click. Now this is actually more than usual. You can see the base cost is being increased by 10%, beating a base cost of 55 rather than the 47 I think we were getting with inwards focus. But that's okay, at the end of the day, it's still not that much. Oh, and would you look at that, looks like we've developed Korea to 201 development, giving us construction costs and goods produced for the rest of the game in that area. Alright, idea group number 2. I've really been enjoying grabbing that aristocratic infrastructure combination. It gives you 10% more governing capacity in the end, and of course that development cost is pretty nice. Not to mention everything else you get with aristocratic, which I kind of enjoy. Oh, there's another successor state. Alright, let's take down the Ming army. Let's try and steal that fort. It should be very weak from having 0 mandate. And they're attacked behind us. There we go. Okay, perfect. We don't want that long of a truce, so I'll just take these provinces up here. Max money and war reps. I think we're only allowed to have this much in total because I haven't changed the value. If I clicked this down, it would probably reset it to like 2,000. So I'm just not going to touch that. And I'll come back later for the mandate and a few provinces for the imperial cities. Of course, we now get claims on these provinces that I just took, which makes them cheaper to core. And with that massive stack of cash, I can start building some churches and production buildings. I'll also upgrade my capital center of trade to level 3, which I can't because I have to dev it once more. Okay, there we go. Alright, we're making some serious money now. I think I'm gonna go ahead and finish developing the city up to 30 now. That finishes this mission over here, giving us 25% cheaper advisors for 20 years, and some yearly prestige in our capital. Now you might have noticed that makes our advisors rather cheap, doesn't it? So if we take these half-cost advisors and, for instance, decided to upgrade them, maybe twice, that's a level 4 advisor for 3 ducats. Now that's a little bit broken. We still have a few years left before we can swap back into inwards perfection. We now make plenty of admin to use in further conquests, so let's start in Haiji. Oh yeah, here we go. Factional upheaval. To get rid of this modifier, you just have to wait, that's it. There's nothing else you can do. There's an event that fires in, I think, 1490, another one that fires around 1510, and maybe one in 1525 or 1530. And you have to wait for all those events to pass, and then you can click this button, and then you can finish it off. In the meantime, everything is going to suck. Like, a lot. Oof. Earthquake of 1482. I think Ming's done for. That was the nail in the coffin. -3 stability, no mandate, no men, no money, no drip. Tragic. Alright, this guy is just gonna give me money, prestige. That's pretty much it. Thank you. Also, I can hire cannons now. I guess I should do that. And that's GG. Yoink. That's gonna finish off this mission over here. And there should be this one over here, but we're gonna have to core that, aren't we? Yep. Also, I should be reducing all the autonomy. And would you look at that, we are now the 6th greatest power. Not bad. I could click this mission now, but I'm gonna take that later on, right as I'm about to take the next Diplotech. Otherwise, I can probably only use it once, but if I wait, I might be able to use it twice. Half-cost level 3 guy, alright. The only problem is he's not going to be as cheap as a half-cost Korean guy, but nonetheless, I'll take him. Wait a second. I think we just got trading in tea. Another -10% advisor cost. So yep, that is a level 3 advisor for $250 a month. Oh yeah, just ignore the level 4 advisor for $223. In fact, don't mind if I bump that up a little bit. Level 5 advisor, $1485 for 3.5 ducats. Not bad. Here we go. It took a while for this kind of event to actually fire, but we get to pick our next heir, and the 552 looks pretty good. I'm not seeing anybody with better stats, so I think I'll take him. Now it's 1486, and we're already sitting as the highest income in all of Asia. Another successor state just popped out of Ming, and I would not be surprised to see Yue pop out soon. The complete balkanization of China is very important to us. Since the Unified China CB can't be used to take everything all at once, splitting that across several different tags makes that much easier. We just don't have to wait as long. I just finished doing a little bit of development, mainly Diplo dev, and we have a lot of crown land that I'm going to use to sell for some more money. Not sure what we're going to use that on, considering most of the temples and production sites have been already created. But in our case, it might be a good idea to build temples anyway, because I do have that one privilege, which is decreasing the cost to develop in any province with a religious building. Looks like we're running out of governing capacity, so instead of selling titles, I probably should have given away some land rights. That would have been a better idea. Now, we could change our focus right now, but I'm kind of comfortable with this. I am going to be taking the mandate soon, and once we do that, we're going to be scrambling for all of China, or at least as much as we can grab. Remember those 3 events I was talking about? Yeah, these are the ones. I think I'll take this top option. The truce with Ming is up, and I'm kind of surprised they're still in 4 pieces instead of more. I would have expected Shun, Wu, and Yue to pop out by now, maybe even Dali, but I guess we could always wait for that to happen later. I'd say now is the time for us to take the mandate. I'm going to try and avoid fighting any of the rebels. The more rebels there are, the more likely Ming is to collapse, which makes it much easier for me to clean up all the states using the Unifying China CB. And Ming's down to 0 troops and 0 manpower. Rip bozo. No manpower, no army, no mercenaries, no money, no stability, and no mandate. Plus ratio or something, I don't know. Oh, there's Wu, right on time. For the tier 4 reform, we could go with strengthen Confucian bureaucracy or maintain the balance of power. I'm leaning a little bit closer to maintaining the balance of power. Alright, I guess that's the peace deal we'll be working with. Only taking the mandate, the imperial cities, and full money. Hopefully this solidifies the collapse of Ming, even though I'm pretty sure they just went bankrupt. Yeah, that's -90 prestige, so seems fairly likely. Well, anyway, have fun with that second bankruptcy. The Of course, once you take the Mandate of Heaven, you get free cores on the 3 imperial cities to start off with, so we don't have to core any of the stuff we just took. On the downside though, we just lost our Hermit Kingdom abilities. Now that we are the Emperor of China, we have access to the Mandate stuff, of course, but none of the stuff we had before. We can also sinicize our culture, which is really important because otherwise we're going to get Empire of China in name, which is a very bad disaster to have. It puts the Korean culture into the Chinese culture group, strengthening it significantly because now we accept all Chinese cultures. To start off with, our meritocracy is fairly low, and because it gives us advisor cost, I actually would be willing to drop a few points into that just to make it stronger. This gives us a clean minus 90% advisor cost, and if I remember correctly, you cannot get cheaper advisors than that. So if we really want to, we can upgrade this guy to a level 5, and this isn't even a half cost advisor, this is just minus 90%. Of course, this is going to wear off once the City of the Kings disappears. We only have another 5 years until that happens, but don't worry because now with the new stuff we have in this tree over here, if we finish Cornerstone of an Empire by weakening our new estate, the eunuchs, then we can get minus 20% advisor cost by enacting Expand Palace Bureaucracy, which is this decree right here, and as you can probably tell, is one of the only decrees I will ever click. They did add like a whole bunch of new ones, and they're kind of okay in their own right. This one will give you minus 15% flat, which is kind of cool. But with that buff, you can just click this one, which is minus 20% dev cost anyway, and then still get minus 20%, which is pretty sick. Speaking of which, I am going to click this. Oh yeah, also we can grab this for another minus 10% advisor cost, so when that 25% disappears, it's not going to wreck our economy. We can also give them provincial administration, reducing the influence of our other estates, and giving ourselves another minus 2% dev cost. Not much, but not bad. Also, if we really wanted to, we could now put on Inwards Perfection, which is going to increase the stability hit when we declare war, but would give us another minus 8.8 development cost. I probably won't because we have to unify China now, but just keep that in mind. Speaking of which, let's start Unifying China. Ugh, yikes. Minus 2 stability, lots of developments. Maybe I should have taken this after 1495. Unless this is just a randomized event, in which case, there's nothing you can do about it. Oh my, you have to be kidding, really? 75% cheaper advisor. I mean, if you're offering, it's not like I'm gonna pass that up. Yep, that is a level 5 advisor for less than 1 ducat. Not a big fan of this dude walking in here, occupying this land, so I'm gonna declare war on his friend. And I'll just be taking that for myself, thank you very much. Ooh, the Fall of Ming, that's kind of expensive, but 10 mandate is pretty juicy. Big fan of that. Yeah, sure, why not? Here's the event I was talking about. So if we decide to empower the eunuchs by giving them a whole lot of stuff, then we could get for 50 years, reform, progress, growth, and influence for the eunuchs, but what I think is much better is curbing their power. Alright, this guy is the war leader, so if we annex both of them, assuming we can do that, that's unfortunate. What about this? No, not quite. Yeah, that's 74 to annex, so I guess that's true. Well, in that case, we don't have much of a choice. Guess we'll just have to leave him be, break his alliances, and we'll come back later. This guy won't be so lucky though. Tragically, it looks like we won't be able to grab that one province, but what can you do really? We'll finish them off as soon as possible. Next, we'll go after Liang. I'll admit, it's kind of a weird feeling seeing 18 cost on a 30 dev province. Not something you see every day. Yep, that's minus 160% before the development increase. Not bad. Anyway, I'll be taking that, thank you. Next, we'll just go after all 3 of these guys, why not? We can probably annex them. She seems easy enough. It does cost us a little bit of Diplo since we're not doing it through the main screen, but I think that's okay. But yeah, kind of, forgot about these missions, right? Okay, well, let me just click them. This will give me a little bit of trade for a while. A couple claims, but these are useless. But this isn't useless, giving us perma claims on China, but also 15% dev cost for 20 years. Isn't that interesting? And if we look at this, that's another minus 10% dev cost in Korea. Fascinating. Very fascinating. Japan has some good dev modifiers, but I don't think they're this good. I think these are a little bit better. Well, I just dev myself all the way from 27 crown land to 41%, allowing us to finish this mission down here. I don't know if we'll see it immediately, but we should see that pop up pretty soon. It's possible that I have to wait and then retake it, which, you know, I mean, it could be worse. Anyway, that'll be full annexation for 25 aggressive expansion, thank you. Alright, well, there is now a new problem, devastation everywhere. I think I can probably just dev that out of existence, though. Seems like it's working out. Colonialism just spawned. I think I'm gonna try and dev it in this province right here. We're looking at roughly minus 110% cost, so that shouldn't be that much of a problem. You have to be joking. I just got this event in this province. that I'm trying to develop the institution in. Oh, come on. This isn't going to give you institution, by the way. There's no way, right? There's no way I just spawned colonialism for like 600 points. Are you joking? Why am I allowed to have minus 125% dev cost in 1502? We don't even have universities yet. I'm sorry, pardon? I can what? I can join a coalition against Mong Mao. Excuse me? No, I think I'll just take everything from them, thanks. I should probably get started on that. I have yet just took some land that belongs to me. I was very ready to piece them out, but, well, you know, if they're gonna be that disrespectful, I guess I'll just have to take that then. I feel like the AI is getting smarter. First they went after this province, which is one of the imperial cities, and then they went immediately over to the other imperial city. Does the AI know, or was that an accident? I'm not really sure. Anyways, let's take this. Here we go. This time we actually get the advisor cost decrease, bringing it back down to roughly minus 90%. Ayutthaya is not willing to leave, and I don't particularly care. So I'll just take this stuff. Said I'd be back, and here we are. Oh boy, that's a lot of devastation. Should probably fix that, eh? Yep, that's pretty bad. We don't have too much left now. Just Wu and then Ming, and we should be pretty much done. We could fight Mongolia if we wanted to. I don't know if we need to, though. I don't think the 300 dev yet, but eventually, yeah, we would probably have to fight them. But yeah, I keep forgetting to move my trade capital. Been meaning to do that for a while. Put it in Beijing, it collects most of China's trade. I'm just gonna wait for Ming to lose this war to attack them. I don't really want to get caught up in all this. So instead, I'll invade these guys. Yoink! By slapping a little development in Guangdong, we get the Pearl Estuary expansion. Doesn't seem like much, but that minus 50 local governing increase cost is pretty good. It's a flat 50, meaning if we expand infrastructure twice, that's still gonna work out. Ming's taking too long to lose. I'm just gonna declare the war. Also, I'm gonna take that. Hello there. You're new? Well, let me just start by annexing Ming. And then we can fight you. Yoink. Okay, not bad. Technically, it's not all of China, but like, I don't have the patience to fight Mongolia right now. I'd say by this point, you understand we're pretty much set. It's a 150 ducat economy, which is pretty decent. Would be a little bit better for sure. We can't see the Ottomans yet, so we don't know how strong they are, but I'm willing to bet probably not as strong as all of China. That's just a hunch though. We do have 1,547 development, 132,000 max manpower, and even though there's still so much more we could do with the Mandate of Heaven, I'll just leave you with a couple of tips and that's it. For these three missions over here, there's a pretty obvious correct answer for each of these. The top one, you're gonna get the +1 monthly admin. The second one, you're gonna keep your decentralized bureaucracy. Remember when I talked about that? Keep your decentralized bureaucracy, finish this mission, and you're going to get minus 10% dev cost for the rest of the game. Also, I should mention somewhere in here is another reform for minus 5% dev cost, I think. Yeah, here it is. So, that's cool. Right now, the average province in Korea has like a minus 90% dev cost, and in China, it's not quite that good, but it's like a minus 75 before the edict, so that's not bad. Now for the final verdict, they have to stop letting us do this. Come on, what is this? What is that? Minus 90% advisor cost? Minus 75% dev cost before taking additional reforms? It's a little bit much. Things are getting out of hand a little bit. Not to mention there is another strategy you can use. If you give the Shizu those special privileges, you know, the one that stops them from losing land at all, both from seizing land and developing, then you could theoretically give them like 60% crown land and then turn on inward focus and get yourself like another minus 20% dev cost. I'm just saying. And then, you know, if someone were to do something cheeky like go down to Machiavellianism reign and keep that on, then, you know, that would be kind of funky. That would be kind of interesting. Anyway, that's it for me for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like or even subscribe. I'm gonna be playing more of these 1.35 nations. For now, this is Quarbit signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day. Big thanks to the patrons this month, especially Yeo, Baby Cow, Q-Brute, Quiet Guy, Torvald, Robert Kaleno, Ambient Cyan, James Levy, Chewy Shoot, The Watcher, and Brova. For just $1, you can join the Patreon and get early access to videos.